said it so casually, I almost missed it. "You're dead weight," not shouted, not even angry, just stated. Like he was pointing out something obvious. We were standing in the kitchen. Dishes stacked behind me, his shoes still by the door. Where I had left them that morning. I remember the hum of the fridge, the quiet of the house. And how those two words settled in the air like they belonged there. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just stood there, holding our life. From the outside, looked fine. He worked long hours. And I managed everything else. The house ran smoothly. Bills were paid on time. Groceries were always stocked. His clothes were clean, folded, and waiting. When people asked what I did, I would smile and say, "I take care of things at home." It sounded simple, it sounded small, but it wasn't. It was constant, it was invisible work. That never really stopped, and somewhere along the way, it became expected instead of appreciated. That night, I replayed his words over and over. Dead weight. The more I thought about it, the less angry I felt and the more clear everything became. He wasn't frustrated about one moment. He was expressing a belief, a quiet, settled opinion of my value in his life. And what hurt the most wasn't that he said it. It was that nothing in his tone suggested he thought it was unfair. The next morning, I didn't confront him. I didn't ask for an apology. I didn't explain how much I did or how wrong he was. Instead, I made a decision that felt strangely calm. I stopped carrying what he had never noticed I was holding. I didn't announce it. I didn't turn it into a conversation. I just stopped. At first, nothing seemed different. He left for work like always. I moved through the house like always. But I skipped things, small things. At first, I didn't pick up his shoes. I didn't remind him about a bill. I didn't prepare his lunch. The world didn't end. The house didn't fall apart. It just felt quieter, lighter, in a way I hadn't expected. By the end of the week, the changes started to show. He asked where his clean shirts were. I told him. The laundry basket was in the same place it had always been. He frowned, confused, like something wasn't lining up. A few days later, he missed a payment deadline. It wasn't serious, but it was enough to irritate him. He mentioned it over dinner, expecting me to react, to fix it, to step back into the role I had always played. I just nodded and kept eating. The house slowly shifted. Dishes stayed in the sink longer. Groceries ran low. Little things began stacking up in ways he couldn't ignore. He started asking more questions. Not directly, but with an edge of frustration. "Did you forget?" he asked once. I looked at him and said, "No." That was all, because I hadn't forgotten. I had just stopped one evening. He came home later than usual. The kitchen was quiet. No dinner waiting. No clean counter, just the same space I had been standing. And when he said those words, he looked around, then at me. And something in his expression shifted. Not anger, not yet, more like confusion, trying to find its footing. "What's going on?" he asked, and for the first time, I saw that he didn't actually know. I didn't give him a speech. I didn't list everything I had been doing all these years. I simply said, "Nothing's going on. I'm just not doing what you don't see." The silence that followed felt heavier than any argument we could have had. He opened his mouth, like he wanted to respond, but nothing came out because there wasn't anything to argue with. The truth didn't need explaining. Things didn't change overnight. There was no sudden apology or dramatic realization, but slowly, he began to notice, not in words, but in actions. He started doing things himself, picking up, remembering, adjusting, and I kept my distance, not emotionally, but in effort, because I had learned something important. Value doesn't come from how much carry for someone else, and sometimes the only way for people to understand your weight is to put it down and let them feel the difference.